I'll just put this in the.
Alrighty, we are live. Thanks, guys, for coming. I do apologize. Yesterday, I thought I scheduled it for Sunday. I apparently put it for Saturday, so I do apologize. And welcome to Ultimate Delicious Pie and Me, and we're talking to a fellow YouTuber by the name of xLetalis, and he has been on the scene for about 5-6 years now, and his gaming channel, which has done very well. And boy, has it been just crazy. I mean, every week has been crazy news. That's why we have these live streams now, because there's all kinds of crazy news popping up as a result of the release of Mass Effect Andromeda. And xLetalis, in case you don't know him, he's the famous fellow who did a quick video on comparing the facial animations from Mass Effect and Mass Effect Andromeda. So he's been featured on how many websites? It must have been Kotaku, National Post. I saw one on Nerdist. There's Business Insider. There's Game Ranks for sure. And this is just on Andromeda. He's been doing this stuff for a while now. His channel is very similar to, I think, the Dana Dutchy, the Fluffy Ninja Llama channel, where you have these big videos and you have little clips of specific scenes from story-based video games. So thanks everyone for popping in, and thank you for attending the live stream xLetalis.
Hi. That was a great introduction.
Well, yeah, there's so much to say. I mean, you have been featured in so many Twitter feeds, many
it was unexpected.
Yeah, they've been linking that little clip or that little scene of the screen share between, or the split screen between Ashley and I don't know the other chick's name.
Face-tired woman.
The face-tired woman. Yeah, we don't know.
That's Addison or something like that.
Director Addison.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, now this is a question I could ask both you guys. I think both you guys have been playing the game. What is going on with the fans? Because the fans on YouTube who love the game say, "Oh, it gets better with time. It's going to get better if you just keep playing." And the first 10 hours are really bad, and that we don't know why YouTube, or we don't know why BioWare released that as the demo. Like, what's the big deal there? Does it actually get better, and what does it mean by better?
Well, I can say that the facial animations get better. Sort of like you stop noticing at some point, but other issues start to arise, like with the story, for example. So I'm not sure whether it gets much better. It's not a horrible game, really, as far as I can see. Like there are some good things about it, but I've been watching some of your analysis, like plot analysis, or whatever it is that you do with games. And if you do one for Andromeda, you're going to have your work cut out for you, because yeah, the plot has some issues. I'm not a big fan of it. I think it's, in terms of the main story at least, it's definitely the worst Mass Effect game, as far as I can say. So yeah, what does UDP have to say about it?
I'll be honest, I only played the trial of it all, and that was on PS4 at one of the friends. So my thing was limited, because I'm normally a PC gamer, so I will admit that there was a instinctual bias to a lot of things. Like you say, yeah, if I compared it to, the people who made, like, the Mars series, like Technomancer and that kind of things, if it was a group like that, there would be a lot more forgiveness, so to speak. Because you're thinking, okay, it's not coming studio, they've got XYZ problems and so on and so forth. But with BioWare and this being the 4th iteration, I was expecting a little bit better. And considering after the Mass Effect 3, I was really hoping that the only way was up, not sideways. So they improved some things, like the exploration feel is always nice.
Exactly.
Combat is obviously being improved by Mass Effect standards. Obviously, if you compare it to third-person shooter standards, it's still like way back there. But it's an iteration. Although the jetpack thing though got me killed a few times because I hovered in midair and all the enemy just went, "Oh, there he is."
Yeah, so, hovering kind of gets you exposed.
Yeah, it's good as a vaulting, to get under some terrain, but the whole hovering mode, it's like, unless I activate some kind of like shield or something that would give me an ability, it's good for the Vanguard. That's what I put it for.
Oh yeah, I play the Vanguard as well, the most.
Yeah,
I think.
you just above I find it awesome for that. It reminds me of what's the game now? Space Marine, when you get the jetpack and you just slam down on a bunch of orcs and everyone just explodes around you. It's awesome. But yeah, like, so once again, so mechanically speaking, they've improved some things, obviously bugs aside, you know. But yeah, the story and the introduction left me a lot more wanting. It's sorry if I'm rambling on a bit, but the way I'd sort of describe it is it's very kind of start-stop mentality. Like, you want to go 60 miles per hour and then they put the brakes on, then you go 60 miles per hour again, then they put the brakes on, and like they don't really understand this pacing of rising. You know, like Mass Effect 1, it was a nice rise up, and then you got the Eden Prime mission. Mass Effect 2 started off in a very kind of bombastic way and then eased off and then ramped up again. Whereas this is just like, it's almost like literature speed bumps. You know, like shit's going down on board the Hyperion. Then it's like, oh no, then you can realize and then look at the documents and, oh, look at this big wall panel. I can read the pamphlet while shit's going down, you know. It just doesn't gel right with me.
Well, it sounds like it's like a Dragon Age Inquisition with guns in space. Like, that's the general feeling I've been getting from not only the critical reviews but the fan reviews. Yeah, it's more of what Inquisition was, and I don't know if that's a good thing, because a lot of people that I've talked to regarding Inquisition say, well, there's a lot of just side stuff that has nothing to do with anything, and because it's a big open level, you have to go explore, and that's kind of part of the fun. So either you really like doing that, you like the beautiful scenes, which I universally have been told it's all beautiful, but it does get tiresome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's similar to Dragon Age Inquisition indeed. There are some improvements, I would say. Like, for example, there seems to be a main storyline for every planet that ends up with you resetting the vault or whatever and, quote, fixing it. And that is, I guess, slightly more interesting. Also has cutscenes, so it's not all with the, the camera zooms in on the characters. So there's some improvement in that regard. Also, the companions speak quite a bit. Like, there are so many lines that they say. They talk about everything that's happening. You see a cat ship going somewhere, they talk about it. You see some environmental conditions, they talk about it. There's also party banter, like from Dragon Age. When you're in the Mako, companions talk to each other, and conversations progress and so on. What else is there that I like? Well, the combat is good, obviously. It's an improvement from previous ones. But yeah, there are also a lot of quests that are very similar to Inquisition, and it's not much different.
So the general idea is that there's all kinds of things you can do, and if you like doing that sort of thing, it's okay, but you're still going to be shooting, you're still going to be driving around in your car, and you're going to be eventually crafting stuff whenever you come back to your ship. That's the general loop of activity.
Oh yeah. Speaking of the crafting, one thing I don't really like about it is that it's not optional enough. It doesn't seem so. Like, the rewards you get from crafting seem to outweigh any other rewards by a lot. Like, I've never played on higher difficulty than normal, not yet at least. And even towards the end of the game, I can see that my weapons are relatively weak compared to my powers. So if I wanted better weapons, the only way I can get them is crafting. So, I think it could have been more optional in those terms, but
in order to craft, you have to get research points, then you have to get resources, then you have to dismantle your current gun and then upgrade it. Or it seems like a lengthy process just to get one piece of equipment or one weapon. And that
getting the mining materials seems harder because there are several ones. There are many different types of elements that you have to mine to craft certain things. The research points is not too hard to get because you can wake up scientists. If you wake up scientists from cryo, that gives you research periodically. So I find that to be relatively easy if you decide to wake up scientists. But yeah, there are a lot of materials that you have to collect. And I'm not sure whether they're the same. There are some materials that you collect on your own, and there are other materials that you detect while on the Mako, or the Nomad. Yeah, the Nomad. So the Nomad has its gathering system as well, which is slightly different from when you're on foot. But yeah, and we have 100 viewers watching, so.
One thing
Oh,
I
everyone.
wanted to one thing I wanted to question, because I recently saw a video, I believe you also did it as well, about talking to your sibling in a coma, and then she comes out of the coma, and then we noticed the silly bug that as a result of
Yeah.
whatever voice direction happened, that you speak your voice, but your sibling
Yeah.
mouth. I could not believe that was
Exactly.
done. It was
That's
like
Sam
so funny.
malfunctioning. That is, it's got its wires crossed.
Okay, so that's one interesting. I can actually say this is an interesting aspect of a science fiction story that they tried to play around with for whatever reason, I don't know. So, are there any other themes or elements of science fiction or things that can only be done in a science fiction game that Andromeda does, or you have seen?
Well, this game, I mean, it has a lot of magic, I guess. A lot of, when I say magic, I mean things that are just things that you don't understand, really. All
Like
about the
vaults
vaults.
would be, the vaults would be the most example. Yeah.
They're the most important thing. Everyone wants the vaults. You want the vaults to heal the world and make it livable for your colonists, and the cat want the vaults so that they can more effectively turn everything else into them. What was the process called?
Terraforming.
Exaltation. Exaltation. No, the process of the cat reproducing. You know, they're like the necromongers from Chronicles of Riddick.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what they do. They have this religion of sorts where everyone has to be exalted, aka turned into cat. You know, they inject you with something, and they turn you into one of them. And that's what they want to do. They essentially want to exalt the entire sector, and they want the vaults so that they can say, you either submit to exaltation, or we use the vaults to kill you. So that's their motivation, essentially. But they cannot manipulate the vaults because they don't have Sam's magic, right? And they need Sam's magic from you to manipulate the vaults, to threaten people. And yeah, that's really it. So it's all about the vaults and
so
controlling them.
it seems as if the magic or the thing that makes Ryder special is Sam. Is there anything that we can point to and say, okay, because of this, now Ryder is special? Like Sam, everyone has a Sam implant, but what makes Ryder special that he can manipulate a vault? What's the big deal?
I think it's because his dad activates more of the abilities from Sam into you personally. So Sam has like a greater access of, and plus as well, Sam's Hyperion, the one on the Hyperion is actually a different model. It's like a more souped up version than the one that you see on, like, the Taurian, Asari, and Salarian one. So it's a lot more powerful. That's the reason
it's not
why.
Explained very well, but I think your Sam is special. It's not like other Sams.
You have the special Sam. It's just the special interface.
It's
no Sam. Sam is the main character of this game, really.
Assuming direct control.
If you consider just the main story, I just went through the ending yesterday, and basically, if Sam had a body, kind of like ED in Mass Effect 3, you won't be needed at all for the main story. That's how I felt. It's just he does everything. He tells you which door to open, which console to interact with. When you interact with the console, he does his magic to do the whatever. He activates the vaults. He does everything. Basically, he kills you at one point. He brings you back to life, and
that's one thing.
It's all about Sam.
That's one thing I don't understand, is that how can he kill you? It's like, okay, maybe obviously access to the brain and whatnot, but how could he do the resuscitation process? Because then you need external input to actually do that. So there would need to be hardware inside your body to basically do the resuscitation process. Your heart just doesn't pump itself. I mean, when he's dead, you know. So, I mean, with Sam,
you're right. Yeah, you have a point. There's an implant. The Archon actually mentions the implant. He wants that kind of implant. He wants the implant from your sister, I think, towards the end. I may be spoiling something here. I'll try to avoid. But yeah, it's. I don't know. None of this is really explained. We don't know how Sam is able to interact with the remnant tech. I don't know.
Okay,
He just
so
can. He
there's a lot of
console.
there's a misunderstood science fiction mumbo jumbo that the narrative failed to present. I know if you go to the codex, it'll say something like it's an implant that connects to the endocrine system, the nervous system, all these other systems of the body, and it's basically a second brain of some sort. Great, cool, okay. Why does that suddenly have a magical relationship with the ancient technology of a precursor species? We don't know, but hey, now everyone's special and only you get to manipulate that. So I found the first hour when I was watching it kind of funny. Your father just dies, and they didn't think about, hey, maybe we could take a breath, and while we're swapping the one working helmet so I can take a breath, but after you hold yours, we can start repairing that broken helmet with our Omni tool that can just fix helmets for no reason, because it can. We saw it in the first scene where you had a little shatter on your helmet. It's like, why couldn't we just repair our helmet and both save our lives? But apparently we can't do that because this crack smart N7 scientist engineer dad of yours just had to die. So I was a little turned off by that scene, but that's just my little nitpicks here and there. But let's go into. Sorry.
It's fair. It's a fair nitpick.
Okay, because I was thinking, if you're underwater, I mean, what would you do? I mean, it's like, okay, well, you take a breath, I take a breath, and we'll swim up together, right? If you're on an alien planet and you have one breathing machine, well, take one breath, hold it, and give it to me for a few seconds, please.
Yeah, I love the.
Yeah. Also, where are your companions? Where are Cora and Liam?
Well, they were far away.
They were right there. They were like. Did they?
Yeah, because with the atmosphere, kind of like he just farted, and then you two just went woo, like 200 meters wherever, and of course you'd actually survive the fall because reasons. You're not like a massive mangled pulp of like, oh god, every bone is broken in my body.
Yeah, it's not Mass Effect 2.
Yeah, you're not Commander Shepard. You can't survive re-entry through sheer force of will.
Well, one thing
Speaking of force of will, though,
aside from some of the gameplay issues that you definitely have seen, there's something called input lag, and I wasn't sure what input lag was, so I had to go online and do a search. Yes. And it has to do with something called VSync turned on during gameplay as well as multiplayer. So this is a common problem, and input lag deals with the difference between the way the screen receives your input and how that connects to reaction and gameplay. So the lag went up to 5 seconds. And this is on typical. Jeez. This is on a typical, not a high-end machine. This is on a middle of the road sort of devices. And this is being reported all last week by users. So I don't know if you guys ever saw that, or is this a problem with any of your gameplay?
I don't really have VSync off.
Not since the trial.
Oh, so they fixed it since the trial then.
They must have done.
It's possible.
That's an easy fix. That is, because literally you can just go into like your config settings on your INI, and that should.
You turn off VSync, or what would you do?
Turn off VSync usually. You only turn VSync on if you've got like screen tearing going on.
Right, but it was on and it was giving screen tearing. It was giving these delays. So I was like, okay, that's not why you have VSync on. It's the exact opposite reason.
But yeah, that's a new one to me because unfortunately I've got a pretty good. Yeah, I'm on an i7 and 1070, so I didn't really. Maybe my computer just like powered through.
Well, the other problem was the controller support. How I think it was Razer devices or Corsair devices were not supported the first day, and then they brought a patch out, and that's what caused the VSync input lag to pop up because the new drivers they popped in, and it wasn't tested properly. I'm guessing. I don't know.
I'm not using a controller right now.
Okay, so you've been all on PC too. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, one thing I wanted to talk about, actually, there's two things I want to talk about, were the actual in-game models of aliens. Now, people have been saying they look fine. The talking is a lot better than the humans, but I'm going to little post in the chat here. I wonder if people can see it. And I can't even post because it's too big. Let me decrease that. And we're going to talk about the Salarian models. And the Salarian models, they have, I think, one or two different models for Salarians. There's the male model, and I don't know if there's another one, but I do know there's another female Salarian in in the story, which to me is lore breaking because females in Salarian culture are very rare, and they're revered as like queens. They're kind of like in charge of governments and what have you.
It's the Pathfinder. The Salarian Pathfinder is a woman.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so but she has the same character model as all the other
I think
Salarians.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
And I also compared that to the Asari. The Asari, there's 2 Asaris character models in the game. There's
Oh
PB,
yeah, that's horrible.
and there's everyone
Yeah.
else, right? They all have that same
Exactly.
big nose. They got the same chin going. And I was like, is this
Sort of
for
flat
real?
cheeks, yeah.
Is that really
I couldn't
do
believe
that?
that either.
Okay, I don't know about the Turians. I know there's male and female, but there must be some variation between Turians. Like they must look somewhat different. There's big, changes in face paint and tattoos and all that stuff. So it must have like different like helmets and have you. There has to be something different with those Turians, right?
Well, yeah, there aren't that many Turians in the game. There are some, and there's difference in face paint and whatnot. But the Asari are the issue. You're absolutely right. There is PB and there's everyone else. Even the Asari Pathfinder, they all look the same. They all have the same face, the face of your doctor on the ship.
Right.
That's the first Asari that you meet. I don't know what's up with that, really.
Like it makes sense in a game to reuse assets for the sake of memory and speed and developing a product on time. But when you look at past games, they had all sorts of different models for Salarians. They had all sorts of different textures, and you could look at the Salarians. Some of them had scales, they had little rivets in their skin. So, Morden had a slightly changed antenna that was off to the side. You could tell this is a different character. This is a different alien. In the photo I just linked from someone's Tumblr account was like, whoa, there's no difference. It's just a texture on top. So I was a little concerned. Now there's other things that they do with texture maps. This is something my friend on Twitter showed me. This is an animated rain texture. And what they did, I don't know what the original texture map was for, but if you click on that twitter.com link, someone then took that texture and put in a larger model or a larger face of a model. So the drops look gigantic. So it's like little craters hitting the side of this metallic object. Now, obviously you have to cut corners when you're making gigantic worlds. I get that. But to reuse the same texture, instead of mapping it, even if it would look weird on the side of a inclined plane, like a wall, but to stretch it out is just, I don't know. That's very immature. It's very unprofessional, I would say.
This is only a minor one, but have you seen the one where if the rain's coming down, it actually goes through your visor?
Yes. I saw some videos.
Oh, yeah.
It's like...
I thought it was sweat initially, but...
I was just like, this helmet's really doing... How am I breathing again?
One thing that other people wanted to having me comment on, this isn't a science fiction thing. I think it's a law thing. Something about a murder quest, something called a Nilken murder quest. I have no idea what this is about. I'm assuming someone in the chat might know that.
Isn't that the one where you is that the Turian one? And
something about attempted murder, and then you only have a binary option of what to do with this guy.
Yeah, you either because basically he. Sorry if I'm spoiling this, but I think that's on EOS, and essentially that the guy in charge of it wanted to press on the attack, and he was like, "No, sod this," and he was going to try and aim and shoot the guy in the back, because I sent you the clip on that, the horrible audio log that you find, but of course the cat shot him before he could get shot, and he was like, "Oh, phew!" And your option is exile him or let him go free, and you just like attempted murder means nothing in this world apparently.
Well, think about it. You are a Pathfinder, and you're kind of like a Spectre in that regard, where you shoot the crap out of everything that moves. And for an average, was this guy like a military guy, or was he just like a?
They're just colonists, really. There was hardly any security personnel, really. I think a lot of these people were just like civvies.
Okay, so he was just a guy with a gun, essentially.
Yeah. And of
Okay.
course, some retard was like, I know, let's go up against that well-trained military force over there that's completely and utterly sorted this previously. Aha! So,
Okay, so he didn't want to die. He didn't want to get his squad killed, and he was about to shoot his superior, but the superior got shot essentially.
yeah, Spirit got shot before he could. His shot actually missed. So yeah.
Yeah, I might not even comment on that. That sounds like a frontiersman sort of Wild West scenario where you're sort of part of the militia, but you wanted to get out of it, and then something bad happens, and oh, what I wanted it happened. I don't know. I kind of see these scenarios as kind of open. It falls to morals more than it does to rules of law. I don't know exactly how the rules of law work in creating a new settlement when settlements already exist, and who's the law and who makes the law and what laws are followed, who's the sheriff. It's kind of murky. So I don't know if that's obviously an excellent conflict to have in a story, but it seems as if there's only a binary option to resolve the problem. So it's kind of like a missed opportunity more than anything than it is a bad storytelling device, I would say, just on what I'm hearing. So
It's poorly executed. That's the issue that I really seem to
okay, all right,
have with it. And especially the dialogue doesn't help either.
okay, all right. I haven't even touched the dialogue options. I don't know how the story pans out, or I have heard some good things. I've had some really scary things where the result of your choice is pretty much the same, only you get to answer it in one of 4 different ways. And that's kind of sad because we've seen Alpha Protocol have 3 different ways of answering a quest, and all the choices that you made had a slightly different impact on various people in various plot lines, which I thought was awesome. In this case, it's very simple, very linear. And you'd think a linear story would be better. It'd be simpler to write for sure, but it's just what flavor of young man or young woman you are. Are you casual? Are you professional? Was it rational? What are the 4? I can't remember.
Yeah, casual, professional. Emotional, logical. Then it was casual and professional.
And professional. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I don't know the context of what it means to be a Pathfinder, so I can't say what you know of being a Pathfinder to say a professional Pathfinder or emotional Pathfinder. I think it's just the person. I don't think it has anything to do with your job, as opposed to the Alpha Protocol stance system where you were a spy. So it's your flavor of James Bond. Are you more Jason Bourne? Are you more this or that? So that I can understand just by someone telling me, oh, you're a spy, but you can answer in 3 different ways. Whereas this, it's like you're a man or a woman, and it's like, oh, well, you're bad, you're good, but you're always going to have this kind of response, but just in a different tone, right? I think.
Yeah.
And really, most of the time it boils down to just 2. Rarely do you get all 4 responses. Most of the time, it's either casual versus professional or emotional versus logical. That's most of the time.
Yeah.
You don't get all 4 always.
Yeah, you remember that bit where they showcased off the slow bit where you go to that spaceport? You only get 2 options there as well. Like, there's no 4 dialogue option. I had to look that up.
So it's basically a form of auto dialogue that we got in Mass Effect 3, where you don't initiate the conversation.
I don't know. I think there are a little more prompts of dialogue, but yeah, it's usually just the tone of the conversation.
Okay, so it sounds like the game does track your responses, but what does that mean? Does it mean?
Here's what it means. Well, I play casual. I try to be casual as often as possible, and sometimes your character will make a joke or just respond to something in a more casual way without a prompt. So there are little bits of automatic dialogue that I assume checks what kind of options you have picked and then bases itself on that. So that's really it, I think.
Okay, all right. It sounds okay. I mean, everything sounds fine on paper, right? As soon like people telling me these stories, oh, it's fine. You just do this and that. I'm like, okay, cool. Until I actually see someone play it, I don't know what impact that will have. I don't know if choices are going to matter. I don't know if that's a selling point of the story or a selling point of the game anymore.
Not really, as far as
No.
I see. I mean, really, especially for the ending. Now, I've just played through the ending once, and it is the fastest ending that you can possibly get. But based on what I've seen, I don't think anything major changes, regardless of your choices. Like, I think the only differences are more for the epilogue. So it's like they will have your choices will have an effect in the next game, probably. Without spoiling too much, that's what I'm getting. There are a few choices, a few important choices, 2 or 3, but I don't think they really impact the ending. Like, I don't think anyone lives or dies or anything major like that based on your choices.
Okay, good to know. That's kind of disconcerting, but what's the state of BioWare we don't know these days, and how they want to tell their stories with what promises to people. At least in the Mass Effect game, I wish I knew, because I've been sort of disenchanted for the past few years anyway. But good to know. Okay, now there's one last topic I want to bring up, which is kind of the claim to fame for xLetalis on Mass Effect Andromeda. That is the facial animations. Now, I had my own theories as to why they didn't work. The upper eyelid was not working properly, or not showing a normal neutral pose by people when talking to someone. It looked like they're always looking at you with headlights, and they're so amazed, and it kind of freaks me out. There was a YouTuber by the name of YongYea who had a video. Let me just post. There it is. Hard look at why Mass Effect Andromeda's facial animation looks so bad. I encourage people to check that out. But I'm going to ask you guys, what was the thing that turned, like, you can actually identify and say, yeah, this is totally wrong? Like, what was the thing that turned you off?
I'll let us talk. So
I was just looking at the video. Okay, so what turned me off? Well, there's some issue with the eyes sometimes. Like, I think the eyes are rotating too much. Like you're supposed to look to the side, but then your eyes almost roll around completely, and you see these. How is that called? Bloodshot eyes. Like, there's this effect. I'm not sure how to describe, but there's something weird about the eyes. And often you just see that the upper part of the face is barely moving. That's really, I think, my biggest issue. There are moments, especially more emotional moments, that gets really obvious. There's one part, especially I can remember. Slight spoilers, but you've probably seen it if you've seen the memories that you unlock. So at one point, sorry about the dog, it's the neighbors. At one point, you see a memory of your mother's final moments. I think it's the last conversation that you have with your mother, you and your sister. And your mother is giving this emotional speech of how you should fall in love and live life to the fullest and whatnot. And if you look at her face, it's completely dead. It's really bad. It throws you out of the moment at all. And the game in general kind of lacks emotion. That's like one of my complaints, I think, for the game. You have very few emotional moments, and some of the few are ruined by facial animations. I'm not sure what exactly the issue is in technical terms. It's worse than previous Mass Effect games. It's worse than Dragon Age Inquisition, which is, same franchise or the same engine in case of Inquisition. So
yes,
yeah. Funny thing, that scene where you disarm the guy and do the funny face. The funny face has been removed. Now you don't do any face. Your face doesn't move at all. You just disarm. That's it.
Oh, so they actually changed that part.
They changed that. Yeah, they actually changed that. But nothing else, as far as I can tell.
is that
Do you actually have a video of that we can look at? That'd be great.
I do, yeah. I'll give you a link. You can talk about something else in the meantime.
Awesome.
I appreciate it. Always has that default smiling face. They do a smirk as well, which never really helps.
If you look at the video by YongYea, that's the third point. Like, it's like Ryder is just constantly, she has a big puffy lips compared to her previous model, and it looks like she's smiling. So when they're talking about my dad died, and they look at her, and she's like, yeah. the creepiest, happiest sort of glare. I'm thinking, you're just talking about your dad dying and you being the next successor to the pathfinding, whatever. And you're just freaking us all. It's like, oh, this is not the girl you want in charge of stuff.
Does this look like the face of mercy? Like, yeah, when I was looking at it, it's just obviously you got the facial bits themselves, but it's just the rigidity of the body themselves. Like everyone is just glued to the floor. There's no natural sway of the body movement. There's no arm gesturing, and obviously everyone's been pumped full of Botox and then given a line of cocaine to do, which never works. Yeah, and I just don't really seem to understand that at all. But because the theory that I was kind of running with, and it is a bit of a tinfoil hat theory, I will happily admit, but that one is they had to change the models at the last moment in those last 9 months, was because if anyone's ever seen the previous leaked footage, it looks night and day, not just graphically speaking, but in terms of the animation quality themselves. And as far as I'm aware, when I used to do modding ages ago, the animation quality doesn't go down when you degrade the models, so
Right.
So something's gone right. So I think has happened there is whoever was working on it previously has done a really good job, but then obviously they got pissed off and left. So EA basically shit the bed and basically went, right, okay, we have to hire all these other people who aren't up to standard. Then they have to retroactively change all the other previous models, or at least downgrade them. But when you change the models, you also have to change, if there's anything wrong with the animations, then you have to redo the animations themselves. So
by the way, I posted the link that you can show to the stream.
Okay. Let me go share. Oh, thank you. Let me go share it, because that's always nice to where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay, great.
Yeah, it should be in the group chat. But yeah, so with the facial animations, they look really half-baked in my view. So I reckon that this team was just forced to pump out any closest thing that they get to a facial animation without any kind of, that's why it seems like there's no Q&A, because there wasn't any time. This is only something that you would pump out in a couple of months. Because unless they claim it's a bugging code, but I don't know really, unless they're going through every single line by line.
Well, I remember the scene I think you're referring to was the one that was leaked last year, where it was the Drax scene, where the guy has a younger Krogan and he has this poison thing bottle and he's squeezing the bottle and the guy gets sick.
Yeah, that's the loyalty mission.
Yeah, and the face on the old model, like the guy actually was in pain. You could see his face. He's like cringing. His eyebrows were tight, and his mouth was like, he was giving that expression of pain. And you look at the real release version, you're like, the guy's just
he's like goldfish. That's what he is.
Whatever. Like how? Like they literally had to redo that scene or cut out that animation for that scenario for whatever reason. Why would you do that? I mean, the work is already done for you. You would just get rid of it. Just make it more robotic. We want it.
That's what I mean. That's why I think it's the models had to be replaced because they weren't up to standard. So yeah, and that's why when you also start to notice like the clipping issues with the other models, like the normal models themselves actually look really fine. But like you say, when you start to see like PB and her arms like slowly like depressing in on itself, it's like it's got like a gravity generator located down their armpit, and or like people's legs just flailing around. So yeah.
So what's here's a question I always want to ask a player. Since you played the game xLetalis, what are the number of bugs, animation glitches, crashes? How many can you count in one average playthrough? What was your number that you could go up to?
Okay, so I haven't had any crashes. Several times I had this weird bug of apparently the game blaming me for cheating. I think there's an anti-cheating or anti-hacking code in there.
Cheating on multiplayer or what?
No, single player. I'm playing the single player and it says tampering with the files detected or something, game shutting down. I got that several times. It's not too bad over a few days, but that was weird. Apparently others have been getting it as well. It's some kind of, is it anti-piracy thing? Is it anti-cheating for the multiplayer? One of those things has been triggering on my end.
Everything's online, isn't it, if you're on Origin? So
yes, it's always online. But other than that, I mean, the animation bugs are pretty constant. I think I got used to them more or less. I just,
Just a fact of life.
So every single scene has a slight quirk, or we'll call them feature. That
I mean, these are, I think we should not call them bugs. These are just, bad animations, and that's how it is. Yeah, it's not just one or two scenes. It's how it is, basically.
so the whole game just has shoddy animations. It's not a break. It's not like
Yeah, they're less obvious in different scenes, I suppose. But yeah, it's more or less the whole game.
okay, all right. So I doubt they're going to clean that up anytime soon, unless they'd have to clean up every single cutscene, right?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So I was kind of curious when they say they're working on it, I was like, what exactly are they doing and to where? And it seems like as if it's a universal problem that they can't just take a few weeks over and crunch some bug squashing sessions out with.
Yeah. So what other bugs? There aren't too many, I suppose. There were a few lines that didn't play. There were a couple of times, I think it happened once for Drac and once for Jal, where in their conversation they would appear twice. So there would be two Jals on screen, one just sitting around and the other one talking, and two Dracs. There have been videos of that on YouTube as well. So yeah, nothing else that's game breaking really in terms of bugs. It's not too bad, I suppose. And yeah, someone on the stream says that Cora looks like she's smiling all the time. I noticed that. Yeah.
Okay, so basically every scene, just every scene, there's something. You've gotten used to it. It doesn't. It's kind of funny. It's like, okay, yeah, we know this is bad. Can we get on with this story? Can we get on with this scene? It's like, all
Yeah,
right.
I mean, that's it. That's exactly
Okay.
it.
If
Okay,
you ramp
cool.
yourself up with like playing Skyrim and you get used to those kind of bugs and glitches, then you're like, I can play Mass Effect and Andromeda now.
Well, I'm trying to compare it to, let's say, Witcher 3. Witcher 3 had all kinds of bugs on release. It still does have quite a number, but they've squashed a few over new releases with DLC. They put packs and fixes into them. So I was just kind of curious what, in comparison to other companies, how they would go about doing that, because I don't know how extensive Ultimate Licious Pie has played Witcher 3, but there were changes over the months. You can tell
There
it's
were, yeah. Sure.
So I don't know if Bioware's going to do that. They should. I mean, you're still releasing a mediocre product, but you're fixing it so that it's at least comparable or less of a quirk. Like, I'm trying to think of this in terms of what kind of animation issue this becomes. Is it one related to photorealism versus style? So are they trying to make more cartoony talking or cutscenes with photorealistic models, or is it just a matter of having really bad animators? So it's kind of, I'm trying to figure out exactly what the guide or the flaw or the philosophy behind it. Now we could just say, oh, there was no QA cycle. There was nothing to say this is a standard of quality we have to match. We can just say that and say that's it. But I'm trying to identify in general what it was. And I think it's just, in general, the animators were just doing their job and calling it a night, getting this thing out the door.
Yeah. Witcher 3 has much better animations. It has a lot of motion capture. So you have a lot of scenes where characters are doing rather complex things. Yeah, here it's not really like that. I noticed that there are basically two kinds of dialogue with your companions. There's one that's, I suppose, the important dialogue that plays automatically when you walk in their room. It automatically plays, and that tends to be a little more complex. They tend to walk around and do stuff and whatnot in the cutscene. But the other ones where you have to initiate the conversation, you have to actually talk to them, they're usually you just sitting and talking or standing up and talking, shot, reverse shot, and it's really basic, kind of like Fallout 4's conversations, similar to that. So yeah, two kinds of scenes as far as I can see.
They even do the Dragon Age camera pull down, don't they, as well? And then you have some.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. So three kinds. Yeah, these are the least important ones. Yeah, but you don't get those on your ship though with your companions. You get those while roaming around.
Oh yeah. So when you talk about the eyes as well, I think the thing that you also needs to be pointed is the lazy eye. Like that the eyes aren't synced up together. So one's like looking directly at the thing, and the other one's going.
Yeah, I think I should have a video about that. Let me find it.
I just love it. Like you couch sound look all serious, and it's just like, did you get like knocked on the head there randomly? Are you okay? Do you need to take a lie down?
Oh yeah. So here's a bug that I saw. I'll give you the link.
All right, thank you.
Chat. There are some lip syncing issues here and some eyes rolling. It's a rather short video.
Okay. All these videos are great because I don't have time to go through every single one, and it's nice that people point them out to me so I know what to look for.
Yeah, so in the beginning you'll see what's happening to your eyes, your main character's eyes. It starts at like 3-5 seconds into the video. And later on, if you have sound on, you'll see the lip sync going all wild. As well as the eyes, really.
Oh, geez. Yeah, he is like really stretching his eyes to the right. Like, holy crap.
Cross-eyed.
Yeah.
All that blood flowing to that ocular nerve.
I think Sam's like coking around, just making sure. It's like, what can I make this human do?
All right, those are all the questions I wanted to ask xLetalis. With any questions in the chat, I'll go to right now. We could do our best to see if we can help you out, guys.
I'll write back quickly, by the way.
No problem. Yeah. Any questions you guys have in the chat that you'd like to ask us while we have xLetalis with us? Anything going on you'd like to share? Anyone at all? I'm just scrolling up here and see what we got. If you did raise a question, just repeat it so I can do it. Okay, I can't answer what favorite characters. I don't know.
Is Water Eye.
Yeah, I still want to know whether or not she has that scene where we're told why we need a space station that needs water and ice. Oh, let's ask xLetalis that. Yeah, he's around. Does the space station need water and ice? What do you guys think about most of the races being gone?
Come back.
Yeah, we wanted to. Okay, we're gonna ask you a question. What was that thing with the trailer about Suvi talking about water and ice? Is that something that you have to research or discover on a planet?
I don't know. I haven't seen that in the game. Haven't heard it. Why did xLetalis cheat on Korra with a guy? Yeah, there are, but that's another topic, I guess. So about the water and ice, I haven't seen that in the game.
So what does what does the Nexus actually need then?
What does the Nexus need? They need place to put up all the people who are in the cryopods. As far as yeah, they need planets to settle, as far as I can tell, and that's it.
Yeah, if your planet's more viable, then I think it's the way I was looking at it was you get more AVP, which then further unlocks more people or something like that. Which means more grades and things.
Oh yeah, if you make planets more viable, you can wake up more people. By the way, the waking up of people is it's nothing special. It's similar to the war table perks in Dragon Age Inquisition.
Inquisitorial perks, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
There's even one where you have to wait for a timer. It's like the credits that you get, and you have to wait like 45 minutes to pick it up. I was just like, really?
There are several of those. The scientists give you scientific research points or whatever they're called. And yeah, the merchants give you money and so on. And so on timer.
All right, so one question is, how often does the Avenger assault rifle pop up in the game when it shouldn't?
Oh my god, the Avenger rifle has been popping out since Mass Effect 1, I think. I don't think I even noticed it anymore. I'm just used to everyone having Avenger assault rifles.
Actually, some of the videos I've seen, they've actually done pretty all right. But then there are other times where, like, you'll just see Vetra with the M8, and then you'll see your character with the weapon that they have originally. That's what we-
Yeah, you actually use your own weapon in cutscenes. I noticed that.
Well, that's
So
good
it's
to
not-
know.
It's not that bad. I
Okay,
suppose.
Chapman, I ask a question. How does this compare for a fan of the game? Is this worth playing?
Well, I mean, it's. I don't want to say it's a horrible game. It's not. It's not really. There are some good things about it. The story, I'm not sure how you'll like the story. It's very. You feel kind of insignificant, I suppose. It's very magical, like I called it in the beginning. Very little is explained. You just do whatever Sam tells you, or whatever your companions suggest, and you just.
Does it ever feel like
progress
it's like
the story.
a fan game? Like a bunch of fans made this game, as opposed to something that's part of a franchise, like would be like the original vision of the story?
I suppose you could say that.
Didn't they?
Maybe it does.
Didn't they say at Bioware they actually have a team actually comprised of fans who were working at Bioware?
Yes,
Montreal?
they hired new
Well, they
hires.
said it in a nice way, I suppose. Not in a, they want to say, "Oh, look, we're all fans. We'll make a good game." But it doesn't feel very much like science fiction. I can tell you this much.
Okay.
I'm not an expert, but oftentimes I find myself just not really understanding what's happening. So, yeah, towards the end, like I said, I played the ending yesterday, and I think I have to rewatch the video to fully comprehend what happened. But slight spoilers here. Okay, so let's say you lose connection with Sam at one point, and the first thing that happens afterwards is you can somehow still manipulate the remnant technology, like with the force of your will or something. It comes out of nowhere. You just you stand by a console and you're feeling really bad. Your vitals are all crazy or whatever, however they put it. You're about to collapse, and you reach for the console, and then a door starts opening. And I'm thinking that you're just having issues, reaching out and fully pressing the thing so that the door can open. But no, it's actually somehow magically you're interfacing with this console, and it drains your vitality or something, so that you can. I don't know what's happening. That's why I said I have to rewatch it. But I think somehow by having Sam in your head all this time and interfacing with the remnant, you somehow retain the ability to do it even when you lose Sam, just because, I don't know. And yeah, there are a lot of things like that just makes you wonder, and not in a good way. I probably sound like I don't have any idea what I'm talking about, but yeah, it was confusing.
Bit inconsistent.
Yeah. You can somehow do it without Sam. It's not explained. No one questions it, but you can still, you can even control the remnant, control the bots.
Yeah. I've seen those, some of the loyalty missions, and you can hack out remnant code, but yet some are still against you. It's like,
well, you can do that, but Sam does that in the loyalty missions. Towards the
yeah.
end, you lose connection with Sam, but then you can still do it. Sam imbues you with space magic, the stream says, and yeah, it's.
So you've gone from a dual core processor to a single core processor.
I don't know. Yeah,
That's the best way I can put it.
So the story has a lot of these inconsistencies. Sam is actually the main character. Stream says, yeah, it's true. It feels like that.
So
in the beginning.
So is this like a $60 purchase, is it a $40 purchase, or is it like a $20 purchase? Like what would be the average fan who knows a little bit about BioWare products, realizing they're not going to get the best one this time around? What would be a good purchase? Like, considering the multiplayer is lauded as being very good. I'm assuming that's the idea.
If you like the multiplayer, I think $40 is okay.
All right, that sounds fair.
Yeah, it's not a horrible game, right? I don't want to sound like it's the worst thing ever. The ending may not make much of a sense or whatever, but it's not Mass Effect 3's ending. So
I don't think anything ever will be, or it can be compared to that ending.
Yeah. The cats are not terribly interesting. There will be more games. I can tell you this much. Like there are a few scenes that show that the Archon is probably somewhere in the middle of the cat hierarchy, and he has superiors. It seems like they are probably somewhere else, the main cat establishment, and the Archon and his team have been sent to the Helios cluster or whatever to exalt that part of the galaxy. That's what it's supposed to. That's what we're supposed to think, I think. So who knows what will happen? But there should be more games. It seems to be set up for more games.
Definitely be DLC for it.
Or expansions, yeah.
Expansions are a thing in the past, aren't they? But yeah,
I played The Witcher, so that they still have expansions.
Shh, we don't talk about this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but all the expansions and all the DLC for Witcher are free, as far as I remember.
The DLC is free. The expansions aren't, but the expansions are huge.
Oh, right. Okay.
Expansions are, 20 hours of expansion, for example.
Right.
Yeah, I would agree with the previous statement of, it's like, it's not like the worst game ever, but in terms of if we're still regarding BioWare being a AAA, BioWare needs to remove their AAA status if they want this game to be salvaged, in my opinion. If they want to be the whole we're AAA or this la-di-da stuff, then it's like you guys really need to get new people in if you want to maintain quality. But if it's a middle market kind of game, then I'd be kind of like, yeah, I'd be more than happy to drop like £25 on it or something like that. Make fun of it, but at least you'll get, based upon your experiences, you'll get your money's worth.
Depends on your expectations, yeah.
Yeah, like if you go in this expecting like a more tight, like story kind of thing, then I think you're gonna be a bit disappointed, or you're gonna be a bit confused by the whole open world, expeditionary bitch work. But I played MMOs and things like that, so I'm used to that. So
same here.
Yeah, like everybody's playing games like EverQuest and what have you. So I'm pretty much numb to those kind of things being a problem with me. So like I love the exploration's fine, especially around in the Nomad, which is fun.
Yeah, the Nomad is fun. There are, like I said, there's party banter basically from Dragon Age while in the Nomad that sometimes triggers your companions talking to each other. I remember a few good scenes. Like there is one, I think it was on someone's loyalty mission. I think it's Vetra's loyalty mission, where you're on a low gravity planet and the Mako is all flying around. And as you fly, your companions are like screaming and laughing and stuff while you're in the Mako. There was also one point on a snowy planet, forgot the name. I remember having to run into a cat encampment. I almost died because I needed heat. I was getting too cold, running out of life support, and I was rushing to the closest source of heat. So there are some good moments, right? It's not, that video of mine comparing the two games that got so popular, I feel like I owe the game some positivity because it helped generate so much negativity. But yeah, the facial animations are not really better than shown in this video, but there are other aspects that you may like. So there's that.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Any other questions, guys, that we could ask xLetalis, myself, or Ultimate Delicious Pie before we go? Because we're doing this for about an hour. I think we all have busy lives to get back to.
Busy. Sorry.
Things to do on a Sunday afternoon. Any other questions, people? Whatever you got, just let her rip.
You guys should probably try the game, because I'm interested to see what you would think when you've actually played it and experienced it.
Someone's asked me about the arcs leaving at the same time. Well, we're talking about a 600+ year journey. Unless their speeds of excessive FTL are exact, then we can't really say when they're going to arrive. I don't know how they can arrive a year later, but it's not unheard of. And, there's, of course, when we saw that promotional video, they make a left-hand turn. So I don't know how that works. It's pretty ridiculous.
It's a stop at the duty free.
I don't
Oh,
know.
did you know that the elusive man's behind it all? Probably.
Oh,
We
jeez.
don't
Yeah.
know for sure, but in one of the later memories, it becomes clear that this woman, Jean Garson, or GN Garson, whatever her name was,
Right.
she was the one running the initiative, basically, but she was running out of money eventually, and she started receiving large funds from a benefactor. It's not revealed who that benefactor is, but he talks about Shepherd and about the Reapers coming, so it has to be the elusive man. So there is a bit of a subplot of that. Well, not really a subplot, just a little reveal at the end that probably the elusive man, I think so, I don't think who else it could be, was supporting the initiative. Which, I mean, if he was indoctrinated, wouldn't the Reapers know about it? But I mean,
This was before Mass Effect 3, so Cerberus wasn't indoctrinated at that point.
Or weren't they? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
Okay.
this was set after Mass Effect 2, between Mass Effect 3.
But wouldn't they know his memories? I don't know.
That would be hilarious. Like the things come out, and then there's a big Reaper flip. Like, "Ha! I thought you could escape us." Oh, new galaxy, brilliant.
There's also a message from Liara, I think, wishing luck from the crew of the Normandy. So I think it's implied that you knew about this.
It got found out, didn't it?
Yeah, that's really a small bit at the very end of the game. So I don't know how important it's going to be going forward. But yeah, there are mentions of what is potentially the elusive man helping fund the initiative. Oh, and also, spoiler alert again, Jean Garson, you know how the Nexus tells you that she died from the Scourge or whatever, from as soon as they arrived, they had the Scourge problem with that space magic cloud thing. It turns out that that's false. You find some records. Oh, by the way, I'm curious what you guys will think and say about this scene, but you holographically reconstruct a crime scene with the help of Sam. I guess Sam can do everything. But anyway, so you find out that she was killed, and you find some messages that suggest that it is probably agents of the benefactor. So it's probably like Cerberus.
Well, you find Cerberus agents there, don't you?
Cerberus agents. Yeah, killed Jean Garson for some reason. I don't know.
We gotta kill some humans. I guess Cerberus isn't doing that enough in the other galaxy. Yeah. We gotta keep killing humans in other galaxies too. Oh boy, that's sad.
That would be an interesting development over the course of the story. Like, you're talking to Jan, and she's kind of going like, "Listen, there's some people on here that they just randomly appeared. I don't know who they are. Just watch out for them." That could be in the story development, but no.
All right.
Cerberus is evil, email.
Yeah, I can't believe they would have a subplot with Cerberus, but who knows?
Cerberus are everywhere, It's like you're
Can
expecting
Ryder
a Cerberus cafe.
Can Ryder become transgender? No, I don't think so.
Make him look trans.
Yeah, the character creation. So how do I refer to you? Smud boy?
Smud boy's fine, yeah. That's fine.
Smud boy, okay.
Yeah.
So have you made up your mind that you're not going to play the game?
Oh, I'm not going to play it. No way. There's no way I'm going to play it. I'm going to watch other people play it, and if they want me to do a review or plot analysis, I'll just go through. I'll probably go through your YouTube channel and find a whole bunch of your clips as from start. I don't know. Did you go start to finish, or what did you do?
I am doing a start to finish walkthrough as well as a lot of videos. So it's currently, I don't know, 2/3 in.
Okay.
Probably, or halfway.
Yeah, I'll just go through that. I have very little interest in Bioware these days. I think Mass Effect 3 did it for me. I think that was enough. And seeing what they did with Inquisition was just sad. I mean, I loved the Origins game. I thought maybe the second game was just them trying to be cool and special.
Well, they banged out in like 9 months, didn't they?
Well, I don't know what the hell they were trying to do with the second game, but
That was
it
EA,
wasn't.
though.
Yeah, the plot just did not suck me in. There's all these characters for no reason, as entertaining as the characters were. But it's the same problem with the Mass Effect 2. Like you have all these character vignettes, but they don't mean anything. They don't do anything. So I was always sad about that. But I could definitely do watch a replay or watch a videotape or YouTube of people going through the game, and I can do commentary on that. The lore, I mean, from what I've seen already, there's all kinds of retcons on gameplay to Salarians, culture, just stuff like that. I'm like, it doesn't. I wish it had that appeal that maybe people were saying this is kind of like the sequel to Mass Effect, like the first game. And I thought that would be a pretty cool way of getting someone who's interested in the series to play it, but it doesn't look like that. The open world concept, which is not really open world. The premise is just I cannot get behind the premise of them trying to explain going there in the first place. Like the marketing didn't sell me. The first 10 minutes didn't sell me. I mean, that's been my rule of thumb. If the first 10 minutes of a game do not do anything for me, I will not care. Like there has to be something which intrigues me, and that's when you play Mass Effect 2, like that grabs you, and you're like, holy crap, I gotta find out what's going on.
Yeah, true.
As stupid as it was, it still was dramatic. In this one, I was watching Proper Bloke play it. It was just like, oh, this is not good. So yeah, pretty much done with BioWare. Their next game isn't going to even be an RPG. So yeah, I'm pretty much done, but I'll be happy to analyze things. I like doing that. I know I'm not analyzing sports, but I will be looking at other RPGs. I have to go through Spec Ops: The Line. I have to go through Torment, Ties of Numenera. And eventually I'll have to try Tyranny, because I heard that was good. So yeah, that's where I'm standing. I'll check some stuff out later, but this past 2 weeks have been constant Andromeda. Like I could make 2-minute videos every day of all the bugs and glitches and funny things that have been happening. And I could wake up, spend an hour, go on Reddit, and just find all these GIFs and go crazy. It's that easy. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that, but maybe once a week I might. So yeah, Deus Ex. That's the next one after I'm done Spec Ops. I'll touch that. Yeah.
Oh, Mankind Divided, isn't it?
Yeah, Mankind Divided. I have a friend of mine who picked it up, and he had his own critical review, and I was like, okay, you gotta try it. I'm like, oh, I gotta do other things. April's a big month for me because there's Regalia, which is a Men of Monarchs coming out, fully voice acted, JATRPG, and that's I love those kinds of games like Final Fantasy Tactics. So, but it has full voice. It's comedy. It's cute. It's colorful. It's anime style. Looks great. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing soon, or at least playing next month. And I think that's all the time we have for today. And I do appreciate everyone coming out and asking us questions, and getting xLetalis, because knowing him, he's probably uploaded 2 videos while we were doing this live stream. He's a machine.
Just one.
Just one. Oh, okay.
But I still have to publish it. But,
already in Photoshop making the thumbnail. He's all ready to go. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it.
thank you too. It was a pleasure.